Well, hello and welcome, beautiful person. I am very, very, very glad that you are here. Yes, you. I know things aren't going well, and I promise you I'm going to share with you something incredibly valuable that you haven't heard before that's going to make your life better. My name is Daniel Packard, UC Berkeley mechanical engineer and founder of my company, Full Liberation Technology, aka Flight, because my passion is to engineer systems and programs that allow you not to just manage symptoms, but full liberation. Sound good? It should. And the reason that my company is Full Liberation Technology is because the way that I help people isn't with advice or tips. You have enough of that. It's because I've created systems and programs that are like an internal technology, meaning if you work the steps, you get the results. So it's an internal technology that leads you to full liberation technology, aka Flight. We are here on a Q&A specifically for anxiety, and I find one of the best ways to help people and illuminate this very nasty thing that we call anxiety and also panic attacks is through people asking questions where they're at. I could sit here and tell you all my smart sounding things, but it's not about me. It's about you and where you're at. So I always find that a Q&A is a great way to meet you where you're at and help you where you're at. And so to do that, I'm going to answer our first question. It is, well, first of all, let me introduce Lena. Hello, Lena.
Hello.
Glad you're here.
And I'm glad I'm here because it's always a learning process. The more you know, the better for you.
Yes.
I try to get all the information I can.
Good. Now, I appreciate your tenacity to understand. I love that quality. I have that quality. Many people have that quality. However, I want to share with you a perspective on anxiety such that you don't have to keep learning and learning and learning. That's normally what we're told, always peeling back layers of the onion, always on a journey of discovery. And that sounds good. But the engineer in me said, if I break a bone, they put a cast on it and the bone heals and I'm on my way. You'll never meet someone who says, I broke a bone when I was a teenager and it's still broken. I'm on a never ending journey of learning about my broken leg. And I thought, could we understand anxiety and mental health at that same level where we don't have to spend a lifetime learning? We can just understand it and heal it and have it be gone. So I appreciate your learning, Lena. Love it. But wouldn't it be nice to stop learning about it because it's gone?
It would be nice. Yeah, but I still don't believe it. I'm not convinced yet.
Totally get it. All I want to know is if it sounds good. Does that sound good?
That I can forget about it?
Yeah.
It does sound good. It does sound good.
We'll take it from that.
Okay.
And I know that it's an innovative way of thinking it. You're not the first person when I tell them what I do. Most people don't believe me, and I'm used to it. So at this point, it's just I want to show people what's possible, and then it's up to you to decide if you're up for it. But for right now, just that it sounds good, and I completely understand that it sounds too good to be true. Now, before we dive in, I just want to tell you even why I'm in a position to talk from that place. But firstly, I want to explain that when you are always learning about your anxiety, it means it's still here. And I know that that is very hard. And so anybody struggling with anxiety and or panic attacks, just I know what it's like to be there, and it's horrible. It's horrible to have it. And it's extra horrible if you went through what I went through, which is you're going around trying to figure out what the heck it is. You're not sure, is it this? Is it that? You take pills, maybe you don't take pills. You think it's this, but then it comes and it goes away. And so not only do you have this horrible anxiety in your system, but then you can't solve it, which it just made me feel more trapped and like I'm going to be stuck here forever, which just made me more anxious. So if to Lena, and if you're listening to this, I just want to say that I get the pain. And also it's why I'm here, because I've been in that pain and I've gotten out of that pain. And now I help people out of that pain. Just about 10 days ago, I started working with a gentleman who reached out to me basically he wasn't living when we were, I mean, he was physically alive, but he said, Daniel, I'm not alive. I'm right now, my kids are outside playing on the lawn and I'm inside hiding. And this just is no way to live. I want to be out with my kids. And this is killing me. It's killing my kids. It's killing my wife. And can you help me? And I know I can, but I wouldn't say it's pressure, but I've got someone's life in their hands. And I said, of course I can. But part of me is like, I better be able to help this guy. So just recently he reached out to me. First, he sent me this message. It was great. He said, Daniel, you'll never guess what happened. I said, what? He said, I have this bed that tracks whether I'm moving in the middle of the night. And he said, I used to have anxiety and insomnia, and I was moving all throughout the night, and the bed would tell me. It was like a magical sleep bed. Not magical, but you know what I mean. And he said, I checked the bed this morning, and he said, I didn't wake up for the whole night for the first time in 10 years. And then a week later, he sent me a message just saying, I just smiled for the first time in years, and I'm out playing with my kids, and I just want to thank you. And I'm telling you that story because this is why I do that. This is why I do it. It's for those stories, because I've been where he's been, and I've also smiled again. I've been chill as a cucumber for the last 10 years. And I'm telling you that just because that's what's alive for me right now, and what I'm sort of channeling into this call. My goal right now on all these questions is to try and give you a perspective that you haven't heard before. You're all very smart people. I'm sure you've gone on the internet, talked to therapists, doctors, friends. I don't want to give you information you already have. That information has not allowed you to be free of anxiety. That's what I want for you. So I want to give you a new perspective that can actually help you. I think I'm pretty clever, but I'm not here to give you clever stuff or smart stuff. I'm here to give you a perspective that can really, really change something for you. And the reason I can do this is because now I'm calm. Like now, I wish I had an MRI scan of my soul so you could feel how calm I am inside. I was telling a client the other day, not only are my thoughts not mean, I have nice thoughts. It's like the internal equivalent of elevator music. It's just nice inside. I say nice things to myself. It's great, but I can't prove it to you. But I wish, like sort of like a drug dealer, I could give you a sample of my blue meth. But before this, for those of you that don't know my story, I was a very successful entertainer. This is about 10 years ago. I had a show that was on the way to Broadway, my one-man show. I fell in love with this incredible woman, one of those once in a lifetime, you complete me types of love. And I had the girl, I had the money, I had almost the fame, and it did not end well. I did not live happily ever after. There was no Disney movie for me. As you may or may not know, just because you get along with someone and you love someone, it's no guarantee the relationship is healthy. And the relationship became very unhealthy. I stayed way, way, way too long. And when it was all over, about a week after she left, just crippling anxiety, PTSD, insomnia. I went from this confident stage performer to just that 16-year-old scared version of myself. And like you, I tried to solve it. I read the books, I watched the videos, I went to the therapists, went to the gurus. I was probably in a cult and I didn't know it. And, it was helpful. It was informative. It gave me some awareness. It helped me manage the symptoms, but it just didn't solve it. It never solved it. And what I noticed was everybody was just okay with that. But the engineer in me, I like to solve things. And I thought, could we just solve this? When I was 20, I hurt my knee trying to impress a girl with a dance move. I tried to flip off a wall. Apparently, I couldn't flip off a wall. And when I landed, my knee exploded. And I hurt my ACL. But I went to an ACL doctor. He did an MRI scan. He said, your ACL is blown out. He fixed it. And now I haven't had a problem in 30 years. And I thought, why can't we do that with anxiety? Why not? And what I realized is we don't have a really clear understanding of anxiety. We don't have a working model of our emotional system. We have a working model of our physical system, ligaments, bones, arteries, cells. And when you have a working model, well, you can solve things. And I realized there was no working model for the emotions. Everyone's guessing and has theories. So I first built a working model of the emotional system. Like this connects to this connects to that. And then based on that model, I created a theoretical understanding of how maybe I could be free of anxiety and PTSD permanently with a certain process. Now, I didn't know if it would work. It was just theoretical, but I started applying the theory to myself with a daily practice. And it was scary. I didn't have someone helping me. It was just me on my own, but I just kept going and going and going and practicing and doing this. And I just knew it should theoretically work. And if I stuck with it, something good should happen at the end. And it took about 8 months to a year and a half. But I remember right about 1 year in, I woke up one morning expecting to be tired from the insomnia, but it was gone. And then I kind of felt around and I wasn't anxious and I felt confident. And at first I thought it was a fluke. I thought it was going to come back for sure, but it never came back. And I thought, oh my God, it worked. Like it worked and it's never come back. No more ups and downs. It's just gone. And when I realized what I figured out, I thought, oh my God, no, not only does this solve it, but it's simple and doable. It wasn't like I had some incredible experience with a unicorn or talking to Yoda. It was just simple, basic stuff. So I said, I got to get this out to the world, but I don't want to create something that people try and fail because I remember that heartbreak. You just feel more broken. So I spent several years traveling the world, literally. I was in Africa for 2 years. I worked with monks in India, in Central America, Mexico, Europe, Canada, the US, testing the model and the techniques on different people to make sure that what I discovered was sort of universal. It was just human. Not only was it worked for everybody, but also that I really tweaked the model so that it works 90% of the time. If you go through the 6-week process, 9 out of 10 people get a significant permanent reduction in their anxiety. And so now my passion is to tell people about this because most people don't even know a solution exists. And so on this Q&A, I'm definitely going to answer your questions as best I can and give you a new perspective. But honestly, the best way I can help you is the system. It's the program, because that's what actually does the healing. And some people think that's great. Some people think, oh God, this guy's trying to sell me on something. Yes, I'm definitely trying to sell you on something. I see it as me sharing, because this saved my life. It saved the lives of countless people. And this is the best way that I can help you. And the reason I tell people up front is because people don't know solutions exist. So I get it up front and I say, this is what it's about, or this is how I can help you the most. So I'm going to answer your questions, but at the end, for those that are interested, I'll tell you more about the program. If you're not interested, then you don't have to come to that. And I'll just give you some value and information. So that's my spiel. How does that sound, Lena?
Sounds good.
Okay. So
yes, it's really interesting what kind of trick you have, because I've read a lot about this. I've met a lot of people. I did a lot of research. I'm a journalist myself. I did a lot of research. I know a lot about it. So that's really interesting. What kind of trick what approach you have to it.
Yes, good. You should be intrigued, be skeptical, but intrigued. And have you ever heard the theory that the better the magic trick, the more simple the explanation?
Yes, I've heard that. Yes.
Right. So this program is so dead simple, which people like. But when you see great magic tricks and then you find out how they are, you always think, oh my God, that was so simple. So when you don't know how the program works and you haven't experienced it, what I'm talking about seems like a trick or like magic or like what's the fairy potion. But what you'll realize is it's just dead simple. And that's why almost nobody saw it. So keep your curiosity, Lena. All right. So just to be clear, what I'm about and what I care most about is solving your anxiety, not giving you tips and advice. So if you don't want to solve your anxiety, or that's something you're not interested in, you want to hold on to that pain for a while, because you're not quite ready to change, then you should probably leave now, because I'm all about the change. So last chance to leave. If you want to keep your anxiety, just okay. See who sticks around. Okay. So Lena, yeah. With that, thank you for listening. And now ask me that question that you had.
So I told you that I read a lot about it. I spoke to a lot of people, and what specialists agree on, not everybody, but this one, like Dr. Claire Weeks, I liked her approach that the cure must come from within oneself, that nothing outside, a crutch from outside, is not going to help you. You have to face it, you have to accept it, you have to understand it, you have to conquer your fear. And when the fear goes away, you know, like, okay, my heart is racing, my legs are tingling, everything, my head is exploding. What else is going to happen? What else is going to happen? I've had it all. So you just have to stop the fear there. What else? You're not going to die, right? You're not going to die. But still, it's very, very uncomfortable and very, very unpleasant. You just don't know what else is there, what else your brain is preparing for you. Huh?
No, it's horrible. And so what's your question? So what I heard you say is that
yes, so
this person is
so what is your approach? Is it really that it has to come from within yourself, that nothing from outside is not going to help you, you know, like meditation, breathing? Yeah, I agree, breathing does help. Meditation, not so much. It's when you are in that, you know, your heart is racing, your thoughts are racing, and meditation is not going to help you. You're not calm, you're not relaxed. Breathing does help. You know, you can calm yourself down, but it's all like you know, it's like a band-aid.
yes. Okay, so here's
it subsides, it goes down, and then you think, okay, when is the next one coming? Huh?
yeah.
When is the next attack coming? When?
All right, so I'll do my best to answer your question. So this person you're talking about, and this always frustrates me a bit, they'll give you a perspective that's helpful. It has to come from within. Okay, now technically, and again, I'm basing this on someone who solves anxiety for a living. And so I feel that I have a certain authority because a lot of people can say a lot of smart sounding things. And it all sounds like it could be true. The person I'm going to trust is who's getting the best results, right? Any stock market person can say a bunch of smart sounding things, but I want to know who's actually successful in the stock market. So this is based on the fact that my anxiety, PTSD went away and never came back. And now that's what I do with others. And we have a 90% success rate. So based on that, I'm going to say I know what I'm talking about. So she's correct that it comes from within. There is nothing on the outside that can help. The outside can make slightly less stressful. But the anxiety, the huge levels that it goes up, how long it lasts, that's anxiety. Versus stress, which is the outside world can put a bit of stress on you. Sort of 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10. Running late for an airplane, maybe worried about work. It'll create some stress. And yes, the outside world can create some stress. But when it goes from a 3 out of 10 to a 6 to a 7 to a 9, and it just sits there, that's the anxiety. And that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the outside. How do I know? I've been chill as a cucumber all this time. And the outside world still can kick me in the ass sometimes. So she's correct in that it comes from within. But what frustrates me is she's told you the what is true. But she doesn't necessarily, that I know of, a lot of people don't show you how. What's an actual step-by-step process to actually do the thing on the inside? I've had people say, well, anxiety is, you know, it's in the ego, or it's creating things from within that aren't true. And that's a bit of truth to that. That's what is true. But where's the how? Because
she talks about the how. You face it, you accept it, and then you say, it's like counterintuitive. You say sometimes, okay, show me, what else can you do? What else can you bring on me? And then slowly, your brain does subside. Your brain does understand that you are not in danger.
For how long?
Yeah, it could be for a long time. It could be.
Then why are you here?
So because I do it does come back.
Okay.
It does come back. Yes, but you say, okay, it can take a year, took you a year and a half. Maybe it will take me a year and a half too to deal with it completely.
Maybe. I'll just share with you.
I don't know whether I'm on the right track or no, but like this one, it seems that I talked to psychologists, right? I did. So it's nothing.
I'm sure I can tell
the
you.
The psychologist tells me, so you're not taking your pill. I said, yeah, I'm not. I don't want to take it. Huh? That's why I'm talking to you.
So let me put things into context. Thanks for telling me. First of all, the word help is not very precise in this field. Anything can quote unquote help. My definition of help is that it goes away and doesn't come back. So to tell somebody how, like, as you said, face it, and that she's telling you how, yes, she's telling you a technique how to lower it temporarily, which is valuable. But to me, the real how is how to bring your nervous system back to health so it's gone. That's the kind of how I'm talking about. And that most people don't tell you. And that's what I want to share with you. Does that sound good?
That sounds good. I'm curious. I'm really curious.
I get it. All right. So again, it did take me a year because I didn't have the process dialed and I was sort of like finding my way. Now the process is about 6 weeks. Well, it is 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks. So, and what you get is a permanent reduction in your anxiety and a set of tools to keep lowering it lower and lower. So that's what I do. And I bring that up just because, that's where you're going to hear who knows what they're talking about. Otherwise, everybody sounds the same. They've all got a technique. So I'm going to explain to you sort of the mechanics of how this is possible, because I can hear that you're curious but skeptical, which you should be. So I'm going to explain to you why what she's telling you is kind of good advice, but we'll never solve it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So when I went to go solve anxiety, I thought to myself, everything I'm learning from therapists, psychiatrists, it's not solving anything. And I think it's confusing me because I'm taking what I know and I'm just trying to figure out how to solve it with what I already know. But this stuff isn't engineered to solve it. So I just got rid of everything that I learned about the inner world. And I started from scratch just to make sure I had a good place to start from. And then I thought to myself, okay, where do we get really good results in health? And we get good results in physical health, meaning when I hurt my knee, it's been repaired. I had an issue in my stomach when I was younger. They repaired that. When people have a heart attack, they open up the artery and they save you. When people are choking, they clear out the airwave. Not always, but often in physical medicine, there are permanent solutions. And I thought, okay, so how is emotional health and physical health similar? Because if there's similarities, then maybe I can learn what physical health has to teach us about mental health. So the first thing I would say is I looked at what anxiety is and I sort of took that word away. And I said, well, what is it really? Like, what is it? Well, what it is it's very uncomfortable. And at its worst, it's extremely uncomfortable. And one could also almost argue that it's painful. Is that fair, Lena?
It is fair. Yeah, it's fair.
It's emotional pain.
Especially when it's just starting and you don't know anything about it. You think, okay, it's a heart attack. I'm dying. I'm going to die right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurts.
But even if it doesn't get to that point, when I had it at 8 out of 10, it was just, I was in pain. It was emotional pain.
It is painful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's good because, not because you have emotional pain, but because, well, we use this word pain with the physical body. So both are pain. And I thought, well, what does pain mean in the physical body and what can we use to teach us about emotional pain? So where does physical pain come from?
I'm not a doctor, so you hurt yourself, if the heart, you have pain in the heart, so that means stress, or your arteries are blocked, something, you have a pain, you break your leg, you have pain. I don't know, you have headache, that means that there's something happened, some stress. So it comes from outside, right?
Well, I don't know about inside or outside. It can come from the outside. There's three main
It comes
places.
from outside, yeah. And mostly it's you yourself is the source of pain, huh? Your
Well,
stomach, it's you have diabetes, you have this, it means your lifestyle, right? You
well,
caused
yeah,
it
there's sort
yourself.
of,
Yeah,
there's what you feel, where it came from. So
yeah.
you're right in everything you said. Human pain, physical pain comes from three main categories. One is you fall, car crash, sort of catastrophic failure. You put a load on the system that's too much and the system breaks and you feel pain. Like when I tried to flip off the wall thinking I was Spider-Man, I landed wrong, my knee exploded. Ouch. That was, failure. The other one is something can be genetic. You can be born. My brother was born where one of the tubes going into his heart, you can tell I'm very technical because I use the word tubes, his aorta, and it was creating problems. So you can be born with something. But then there's a third source of pain, which you would see if you had a heart attack. If you have a heart attack, which is very painful, what and where did that pain come from?
I don't know. Where does it come from?
Well,
Comes from
usually,
inside.
yes, it comes from inside, but usually a heart attack doesn't just appear.
No,
Usually
no,
something's been building over time. True?
it's building over time. It's your lifestyle, it's genetics, or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
there are many reasons.
right. In this reason, think of it as lifestyle. And specifically in lifestyle, it means that we should eat a healthy diet,
Yeah.
but we eat an unhealthy diet. And if you eat an unhealthy diet, not right away, but over time, it's going to cause problems. So when we should do something healthy, but we don't do the healthy thing, this is the word called neglect, meaning there's a healthy version and we're not doing the healthy version. So if you neglect your body and you neglect your diet, not right away, but over time, if you neglect your physical body long enough and the neglect accumulates, in this case, the arteries will start to clog, and then eventually going up the stairs will overtax the system and you get a heart attack. So in the metaphor of the heart attack, what created the pain was an accumulation of neglect over time. Do you see that?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Now, the reason this is important is because this sort of follows anxiety, which is this pain that's very painful. And it seems sometimes to kind of come out of nowhere or it doesn't make sense. But let's say you're a person who was never told about diet ever, and you were secretly eating horrible food your whole life, and your arteries were getting more and more clogged and more and more clogged and more and more clogged, and they were ready to close down. And then you're walking up the stairs and you get to the third flight of stairs, and all of a sudden there's this horrible pain in your heart, and you think you're going to die. If you don't know about diet, you'll probably think, oh my God, I've come up with sudden staircase pain disorder, or the stairs caused my chest to hurt. That doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make any sense to you. But if you knew that you had been neglecting your system for a really long time, it would make sense where the pain came from. You following?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what I saw was that, wait a minute, if you neglect the physical body long enough, that neglect accumulates and will cause pain. It's your body's alarm systems to say, hey, get your act together. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Have I been neglecting my emotional system? And I looked at my life and I wrote a list of all the ways I should take care of my emotions, sharing my emotions, setting boundaries, being in healthy relationships, not being a people pleaser. I wrote down what optimal emotional health looked like. And I looked at how I'd been conducting myself, especially in that unhealthy relationship. And Lena, I realized that I'd been doing the emotional equivalent of eating French fries and bacon double cheeseburgers for 30 effing years. And I thought, oh my God.
I hear you.
What if, you feel me? What if
Yes.
I've been neglecting my emotional system, not for just a week, but decades, and the anxiety is possibly just the alarm system from accumulated neglect. What do you think about what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all true. It's true. When I have a journal now. I write everything down because I know where it's all coming from. If I tell you, I was born in a labor camp in Germany after the war and lived in the Soviet Union. Huh? So there is some emotions going on there. So I know where it's coming from. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, that's exactly right, because every culture really does, for lack of a better word, suck at teaching emotional health. But I travel all over the world. Every year I live in a new country. I'm actually in Estonia right now, which is former Soviet Union.
Yes,
And
I know
so
that.
I see people that grew up under that system, and I can feel the emotional neglect in their system. So every culture does not deal with feelings well, but I can empathize that growing up not only in the Soviet Union, but in a labor camp. And here's why it matters. We all need to take care of our teeth. We know what basic care for our teeth is. You have to brush, floss, occasionally get it cleaned. Then when your dentist asks you, are you flossing all the time? You say, of course. Well, you say, we're taught proper care for our teeth. And because of that, we can keep cavities and tooth decay away. But if you were never ever told about toothpaste and floss or dentists, you would neglect your teeth. And what would happen over 10 or 20 years to your teeth?
You will lose them.
Yes. But along the way, it'll be really painful because you'll have tooth decay and infection, and it's really painful.
Yes.
Just like anxiety. Your teeth, which should be strong, now when you eat a carrot that you could theoretically normally take, your system is fragile. Your teeth are fragile from the neglect, and it hurts more than it should, just like anxiety. People say, God, why am I so fragile? So let me ask you, Lena, and to anybody watching this, were you taught proper emotional health and hygiene ever?
No, you know where I come from.
Yeah. Rhetorical question. Not only we're not taught it, we're taught bad habits. Get over it. Don't worry about it. I'll give you something to cry about. Don't take it personally. We're told to suppress our feelings. And when we do share our feelings, it's not safe, especially as a child, and we shut down. So if you're told, not even good habits, if you were told not to brush your teeth, but you were taught every day to swallow sugar and acid, what will happen to your teeth after a couple decades?
Yeah, we know what's going to happen.
We know what's going to happen. Your teeth are going to fall out, be fragile, and have lots of pain. So if you track the metaphor, if you weren't taught proper emotional health and hygiene, you were taught, just like all of us were taught, poor emotional health and hygiene. Can you see after a few decades, you would have a fragile nervous system where you would feel lots of emotional pain?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So here's why this is valuable. The person that you were sharing said that it's on the inside, which it is. That's what I'm saying. We have neglected the inside. We were taught poor habits, and now the accumulation of the neglect is creating this pain in our system. The difference is you said that she mentioned conquering it or facing it. The reason that won't work in this model, because trust me, I tried the conquer. I tried the face it, accept it, just like the brute force. But it's a masculine approach, conquer. That's not loving. That's like force. And there's accept and there's face it, which kind of, it's better than running. But if something is in a bad state and is fragile and painful from neglect, does it need to be conquered and faced, or does it need to be nurtured and brought back to health?
I don't know.
What do you think based on the metaphor?
I really don't know which approach is better.
I'm not asking you which approach is better.
I don't know about your trick. I don't know about it, so I can't say anything. And this one, so far, it's been working for me. It's been working. I don't have panic attacks anymore. I don't have them, but I'm not free from anxiety.
Okay. So I get that you don't know if it'll work, but along the metaphor that what if our pain is from neglect, along that line, if you've neglected something, the path to liberation is not to conquer or face or push. It is to heal and bring love and care and bring the system back to health.
It looks like if you're talking about your heart, you're talking about your liver. Yes, you can change something. You can change your lifestyle. You can start doing something to repair it if it's not too late. I don't know about emotions. I don't know about your trick.
I know you don't know about it. That's why I'm speaking in metaphors. I know you don't know about it. I'm just laying out sort of a blueprint of understanding.
If you do compare like with your heart, with your liver, with other organs, let's say, yes, if it's not too late, you can repair it. There are ways to do it. You change your diet, you change your lifestyle, you can do it. Yeah, I believe that.
Now, I know you don't know my quote unquote trick or if that will work. So I'll just tell you, it works, Lena, because I tried the face it, conquer, accept it. I tried that. It's better than nothing. And you can get some temporary relief. It's great for symptom management. It doesn't go away because if you have teeth that are hurting and fragile and neglected, you can get some temporary symptom management. But if you bring your teeth back to health, if you bring your gut back to health, if you bring your heart back to health, it goes away and it never comes back because the alarms go away, the symptoms go away when you bring the system back to health. Now, I know you don't... Wait, hold on.
So how do you bring your emotions back to health?
Well, that's what I do. That's what I teach you. But what I want to share with you was to answer your question, which is, yes, it's an inside job, but conquering it, facing it, that will do symptom management, but it never brings the system back to health. So you'll keep having the ups and downs. The only difference, and I know you don't know, but based on what I just shared with you, bringing my system back to health, it went away and it just never came back. What do you think about that?
So that's wonderful. What can I say?
Thank you. I'll take it.
It's excellent. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Now, your question of like, well, what does that look like? How do I do it? Even if I just told you like, oh, here's what you do, you wouldn't be able to pull it off because even before I told you, Lena, that probably you don't have the best emotional care, you already knew that. So even if I tell you just right now, oh, here's what you do, what I realize is people don't have the structure and the sequence to carry it off. So the reason it's a 6-week program is because it understands where you're at. And it's a very beautiful step-by-step that takes you exactly where you are. And there's phases that show you step-by-step, not only tools, but a specific sequence so that you can bring your system back to health. And when you do that, the anxiety goes away and doesn't come back. So I just want you to hear me that what you have, Lena, this is if nothing else, I want you to know that your anxiety is not a problem to be fixed or conquered. I know that one. In reality, based on someone who solves this 90% of the time, your anxiety is a symptom. A symptom of accumulated neglect over time. Now, the downside is all this neglect is incredibly painful. And unless you bring the system back to health, you'll always be managing symptoms in one form or another. But why is it good news, Lena? Why is it good news? Theoretically, if what you're experiencing right now is a symptom of accumulated neglect, why is that actually good news if we want to turn this around?
So it's good news because you can take care of it. Yes.
It's doable.
You can change something. Yeah.
It's doable.
Change something. Yes.
If you've eaten horribly your whole life and you're getting heart attacks or you have trouble breathing, sucks. But guess what? You can go from cheeseburger to salad. You can go from doing video games to a walk around the block. It's small, doable things over time that bring it back to health. And so I say that because most people feel a bit hopeless because they're trying to stop it, solve it, outrun it. But with small daily adjustments over time, your system comes back to health and it goes away and never comes back. So repeat after me, Lena. Repeat after me. You don't have to believe it, but anxiety is not a problem.
Anxiety is not a problem.
Anxiety is a symptom.
Anxiety is a symptom.
Nothing wrong with me.
Nothing wrong with me.
I'm not broken.
I'm not broken.
Just nobody in Russia told me how to take care of myself.
Nobody in the Soviet Union told me how to take care of it, because I'm not from Russia, I'm from Ukraine. And you know what's happening in Ukraine, huh?
I do. Pardon my geographical ignorance. Nobody in the Soviet Union told me how to take care of myself.
Nobody in the Soviet Union told me how to take care of it.
So no. I've been accidentally neglecting myself for decades.
I've been accidentally neglecting myself for decades.
And that neglect has accumulated into anxiety.
And that neglect has accumulated into anxiety.
Yes. Downside is it's painful and scary.
It's painful and scary.
Good news is I can move over time from neglect to care.
I can move over time from neglect to care.
And my nervous system can come back to health.
And my nervous system can come back to health.
And the pain will go away and never come back.
And the pain will go away and never come back.
Amen. Thank you so much, Lena, for that excellent question and for challenging me and, being firm and open. Again, I know you don't believe the trick, but at least you're open to the possibility. Thank you so much.
I have an open mind. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. And I always learn. It's
Good.
Never late. Never late. Thank you.
You're so welcome.